Why are they hating?
They don't know basically what I'm trying to put out there. And I delete at least like 150 messages a day. They don't know anything about me. I come from a background of stress, depression, a lot of other stuff. I used to have a perfect hairline. They don't understand the effect they're having on other people. I don't want to see these messages, but I will have to eventually. You have fans that are religiously looking at your posts. And so when moving forward, it's just, why are you doing this? It's because that one person that messages me, dude, I'm inspired by you. That's what makes it worth it. That's literally all that matters to me.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 120 of the Andrew Deitsch podcast. It's a pretty big milestone, 120 episodes. It seems like once I hit 100, like it didn't feel like I was making that much progress because it was like 105, 107, and then all the teens didn't feel that big, like 116, 117 didn't seem that big, but 120 feels like a solid number. I'm proud of that number. And thanks for everyone watching. If you're here and you're brand new, thanks for checking out the show. If you don't know already, the show is about having amazing, fascinating, thought-provoking conversations with some of the coolest people that I know. And today's guest is one of the coolest people that I currently know. He's an awesome dude. But before I jump into the show, I wanted to mention that today's episode is sponsored by Eyes Ahead Media. Now, Eyes Ahead Media is a production company that I started, but they actually have been taking over the entire production of this podcast and a couple of other podcasts and other YouTube channels and shows and everything. And basically, Eyes Ahead Media is all about creating compelling visual video content for your brand, or if you're an influencer, creating content for your YouTube channel or Instagram. And we've been able to create amazing results, some insane content. If you're interested in starting a video strategy for your business or brand, definitely reach out to Eyes Ahead Media. Go to their website, eyesaheadmedia.com. And we love working with brands and businesses that want to incorporate video as a core part of their marketing strategy to have a long-lasting relationship. So big shout out to Eyes Ahead Media for producing this episode and all the promo content and everything around it. But let's jump into the show. So my guest today is my new friend, Abhish Desai. I think I'm saying it right. Abhish Desai. And Abhish is amazing. He reached out to me on Instagram recently, and he's just been blowing up on Instagram. But he's a fitness influencer, if you will, on Instagram, even though we both don't really like that word. It's like kind of the best thing to describe him. But he's all about functional movement and all kinds of HIIT workouts and things like that. His Instagram videos are really interesting of seeing him kind of do these flowing movements that he's very in tune with his body. But also he's tapped into this Indian market that he didn't even really try to necessarily hit. But coming from an Indian background, being born in India, he's really just cultivated a huge Indian audience on his Instagram page. And a couple of other things, he's a vegetarian from a very young age. I think just from when he was born, he's always been a vegetarian, which was fascinating to hear because I learned that during this conversation. But during this episode, and also he's a full-time law student, which is fucking crazy. Like he does everything. But honestly, this episode was amazing. We talked all about his upbringing, coming to America at such a young age. We talked about laws and everything. He's becoming a lawyer, so we talked about a lot of different things in the government and society surrounding that kind of stuff. And of course, we talked about his fitness journey and how he got to where he is today. And of course, we talked about how he got 117,000 new Instagram followers in the last 3 months. Like, that's freaking unheard of. I mean, he's at 127,000 right now, and most of those followers are from the last couple months. Absolutely nuts. It was an amazing episode. Thank you so much to Abhish for coming on the show. So without any further ado, please welcome my friend, Abhish Desai. All right, I'm here with Abhish Desai.
Yep,
Abhish Desai.
Yeah.
That's the way you remember it.
Yeah.
He just taught me it's like Desai. You're like pointing to your eye.
Yeah.
Desai.
Yeah.
Dude, what's up, man?
Just hanging out, man. Just hanging out.
So the backstory of how we even made this happen. You messaged me on Instagram like a couple days ago. Yeah. And I feel like I just have to tell the story right off the bat. Because I was like, dude, this guy's got a lot of followers. He's got some cool content. And I scrolled down his page a little bit, and he had this post that was like celebrate. Oh yeah, so he had 125,000 followers, 127,000 followers, something like that.
Yeah, right now.
And yeah, right now. Maybe by the time this is out, he'll be at like 1 million or something. The way that the
maybe,
trajectory is
possibly.
going. But yeah, so I scrolled down and there was a post from like February 23rd or something like that.
I think that's when I hit like 10K or something.
Yeah, and it was a post of you holding balloons that said 10K.
Yeah, it was 10K. Yeah.
And I was like, hold on, this is fishy. Because I'm like, he's celebrating 10K. I could understand if you were celebrating 100K.
Yeah.
I'm like, did he forget a zero? Like legit,
No,
I had to
it
like
was
double
like 10K.
check. And you're like celebrating 10K. Thanks to all my followers.
The ride to 10K was so long for me. I got to 5,000 in like, I think 2 years. It took me 2 years to get to 5,000. So it was just like, when I got to 10K, I was like, you know what? We got to celebrate. We got to do something.
Yeah,
and so
dude.
My girlfriend went out and got balloons, and she was just like, here's some balloons. And
yeah, because that's the Instagram thing to do. You got to have the balloons.
Exactly.
It has the age or the number or whatever.
Yeah.
But so I saw that and I'm like, okay, so let's do some quick math here. It's like the beginning of June right now. So, and there was the end of February when you hit 10K.
Yeah.
So it's like roughly 3 months, maybe a little bit more,
Yep.
and you gained 117,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's something fishy here, dude. Like, you don't just gain that many followers like that. And so I straight up, I told Abhish, I was like, I want to do the podcast with you either way. Like, but I texted you. I was like, yo, man, like, I'm not hating or anything, but like, did you buy followers or something? Like, how did you gain that many followers in that short of time?
And I get that question so many times. Like, I get that question all the time.
Literally.
And people are like, what's your secret? What did you do? How are you getting so much engagement? Are you just like spending money like constantly, like just buying engagement and stuff? And I'm like, first of all, I'm a law school student. I'm $200 and something thousand in debt already. I have no fucking money to spend whatsoever. I carefully spend money even on food and like stuff like that. Like, my parents give me money too, but at the same time, it's like whatever money I can get, I keep. I don't work. I don't do anything. I'm a full-time law school student. And so if there's money somehow being spent, it's not from my side. It's not anything. And
maybe some like rich investor just saw your potential and like boosted your followers without you knowing.
Without me knowing. No, I don't. And that's the thing is like it grew at such a rapid rate. Like from February. Like I don't even remember when in February, but it was the end of February, like you said, and from that point, like I posted one video, like I was telling you earlier, and like posted one video, and it just got so much attention that from that point forward, every video started getting that much attention. Every single, and at that point, I wasn't even posting photos; it was mainly videos, and that's when I started like doing more, and I had to keep up with that, and so I had to learn quickly what I could do to even keep up with all these people that want to see more. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I don't know. I'm just like trying to like contact gyms and like different stuff. I used to film in a parking garage. Yeah. Like I still do.
It's a cool aesthetic though. Yeah. Like the videos in the parking garage are dope looking. Like it has this like industrial feel that like a lot of videos don't have.
And I had lighting to it. It's the damn light from the parking garage that adds the lighting. And I'm like, all right, this is cool. Man. Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. Yeah. That's sick.
So it was really cool.
Yeah. So I mean, like when I reached out, I was like, dude, if his followers are fake, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, because like obviously I still like your content and stuff, but I'm like, this is nuts. So you're pretty. But to give people some context of how it did grow like crazy like that, you said you had that one kind of post.
Yeah.
But you kind of attribute it a lot to your Indian audience, right? That's what it seems like.
Yeah, and that's what ended up happening. Yeah. So and it wasn't because I wanted to. It just ended up happening.
Yeah.
So a lot of people. So right now. And this is the reality of the world, basically. You go out into the world, you don't see that many Asian influencers. You don't see Indian influencers. You don't see like basically influencers from other races. You don't see that many besides black and white. And it's not a race thing. It's just America is where it all started. Like a lot of it started here. And so
I think like as like Americans, like we're kind of like taught to like put ourselves out there and like be kind of, you know, outgoing and whatever.
Exactly. So when it comes to like the Indian culture, we're very reserved, and especially in India. Here it's not that bad anymore, but in India it's like crazy reserved. And so one thing I started like researching and saw that in India, there are actually a lot of it's trending basically. fitness itself is now trending. It's an upcoming thing in India. It's not something that was there for a long time. And so when people saw that, oh, there's an Indian influencer in America, and they just started following, and from that point forward, I was just like, I'm just gonna run with it because it ended up working.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't I? And especially at that point, it became a thing where I'm not inspiring just people around here, around me. I'm getting to inspire people that would never have seen anything like this if it weren't for me.
Yeah.
And so that's what ended up happening because, I mean, you don't see fitness stuff that much in India, and people have all these, like, you know, they're just skeptical. I can't even talk right now. Skeptical about everything. And so they start questioning everything. And for me to give them that knowledge, and I give everything I know because it's things that I would want to know. And so for me to give them that knowledge, I think it was new to them. Like, somebody's giving away so much for free.
Yeah.
And it's knowledge that they would have never had. They would usually have to buy. Even us, like here, we have to, it takes years to gain all this knowledge. And over there, people are getting this through my Instagram, and they just ended up loving it.
Yeah.
So
that makes a lot of sense, honestly. And I think, you know, in America, we tend to kind of live in the American bubble, and we don't think of, like, you know, other being able to have our content reach other people like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't really think. I heard recently about this documentary. I haven't watched it, but it was about this musician who had, like, one hit single. And it did, like, okay in America, but, like, it didn't ever, like, make him famous or, like, rich or anything.
Yeah.
But in, like, South Africa, apparently, he became, like, crazy famous, and he didn't even know it because this was before the internet.
That's pretty
awesome. I think the documentary is called, like, Searching for Sugar Man or something like that.
Yeah.
But basically, like, in South Africa, there was this, like, almost folklore about this guy because he basically fell off the face of the map after his, like, first EP or whatever. But he went, like, crazy famous, and he found out, like, years later, and ended up, like, doing, like, a tour down there and
so
like,
awesome.
playing for an audience of, like, millions of, not millions, but, like, tons of people and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he was working as, like, a construction worker or something. So it's like, imagine if you, like, had all these new followers, but you had no way of, like, even tracking it or knowing it. You know, like, that'd be
like,
nuts.
who are all these people? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know, like, they existed. Like, I didn't know my content was even out there. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and I joked about this earlier. I said it to you earlier, but I was thinking about it. I was like, you're like the freaking T-Series of fitness right here, because, like, you know, with, like, PewDiePie versus T-Series whole thing, and it's like all these people are like, what is this channel coming up out of nowhere with all these? And it's like, well, when there's any kind of, like, anomaly with numbers like that, it typically boils down to, like, a few things. Number one is kids. If you don't understand numbers and you're like, oh, kids love this shit. Like, I don't understand it, but apparently, like, millions of kids love it. That's why it's getting all these views. Or it's some sort of, like, overseas market like India or China or somewhere where there's just, like, so many people that we can't even comprehend.
Yeah,
like,
and that's
absurd.
what actually ends up happening. So, like, even in the film industry, so I used to work in the film industry for a little bit too, and so not like too big or anything. It was just, like, something I did on the side.
Yeah.
And so whenever movies here, like, we see the reviews and stuff for people here, but a lot of people don't understand that movies sometimes are made, like, including, like, when
with a global audience
with a global audience in mind. Yeah, exactly. And so when they go out, like, when you go and, like, look at reviews and numbers in China or Japan or anywhere, like, a lot of these movies don't make money in America, but they
crush overseas,
smash in like China and stuff. So, I mean, and that's something that I kind of saw happening with me is maybe I'm not popular here, but everywhere else, like, it's actually working.
I think it's mainly just because it's so saturated here, like, especially with, like, fitness influencers and whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
We're, like, almost numb to, like, really high quality Instagram content because we're so used to it at this point. If you're not, like, having highly edited, like, crazy shit on your Instagram, people are kind of, like,
if you don't have, like, a six-pack
past.
abs, you know, if you don't, and that's where I, like, differed, and I try to become more relatable to people like that, because I was like, I don't have a perfect body. I used to be 55 pounds heavier, and it took a lot of effort to get to where I am right now. and it was just body weight workouts. And so for me, it was more so of showing other people, hey, here, look, you can do this stuff at home. You don't need a gym. You don't need a gym membership. And a lot of people nowadays don't realize that college students are broke. The new generation is broke. We don't get jobs as easily as it used to be. We don't have that education. It doesn't come to us as easily as before. And so now a lot of people can't afford going to the gym. They can't afford doing other stuff. And then smaller countries like India, China, stuff like that, where the culture is completely different. Kids don't work.
Yeah.
Their parents give them the money. Parents give them money to do other stuff, right? So a lot of the audience I've seen is between the years of 24 and 34, like when I look at it. And so when I look at that, it's like, oh, like these are people my age following me, but it's a completely different dynamic.
Totally.
They're getting stuff for free and they're learning stuff, things that we only learned because we paid for a gym membership and practiced.
Totally.
And that's what ended up happening. And so now I started aiming towards that. I never considered myself a quote unquote influencer until recently.
Yeah.
I never even used that word because I considered myself more of a rebel in the fitness industry, because you see all these influencers and stuff. They don't give stuff out for free. They don't put out content for free. They don't give advice for free. They don't take that time to give genuine information for free. And I did that. And I started doing that more and more. And I give out workouts that I do. I give out just regular advice, day-to-day life kind of stuff out for free. And I think people really just loved that because it was so relatable to them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think another thing that's so enticing about your videos is like, it makes you want to try it when you see them. Like literally earlier, I was looking through your Instagram and I tried some of the moves you were doing in my bedroom because I was like, literally like, he looks so smooth doing this shit. Like, I want to try this. And like, I think that's what's also enticing is probably a lot of these people, they don't have a gym membership. They see your stuff. They're like, holy shit, this guy looks like me, but a way more fit version of me. And like, I want to look like him, even though he doesn't maybe, like you said, you 50 pounds heavier, blah, blah. He's not the bodybuilder type of aesthetic, but he has an aesthetic that I think is achievable and looks good and like, whatever. And the fact that all this kind of stuff you're doing with very simple equipment, you're literally doing it in a parking garage or you're doing it on the turf at the gym or whatever, these body movements and everything.
And that's what became a thing is, so the parking garage was mainly because of the lighting. I actually went down there because I was like, the lighting down here is amazing. And it was a brand new building. No one like lived there when I moved in. So I was like, I'm going to start filming down here because the gym here sucks. And I don't want to pay for a gym membership just so I can go film there.
Yeah. Because you were using your apartment gym pretty much.
Well, I was using my apartment. I work out in my apartment on a daily
just with
basis.
Body weight stuff.
Yeah, just with body weight stuff, and I have my own equipment and stuff. And
nice.
Again, that's
like some bars and rings and a couple kettlebells or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
And so going to the garage, it became a thing that just became relevant to my page because it showed that you don't need a fancy gym. You don't need fancy equipment. All of the stuff, all the muscles you need to hit, everything you need for fat loss, weight loss, lean muscle gaining, anything that you need can be done right here in a garage. And if you can do it in a garage, you can do it in the comfort of your own home, watching TV. And and that's where like it all started. It was just like the idea. And so if you ever go on my Instagram page, just go back I think 6 months, it's all videos of me in the parking garage. Yeah. There was no pictures, nothing. It was just videos of me in a parking garage, and that's it.
Did you batch a lot of them too? Like, did you just film 20 videos in one take or something?
I did it the dumb way. I did it one every day. I took the time out to go to the garage every single day, film a video, come back up, edit on my phone, and
that's almost kind of cathartic though. Like it's almost kind of like a ritual. Yeah. Like I did my post of the day. Like I know a lot of YouTubers. Like I know some like guys that are like really consistent. Like PewDiePie. Like he uploads every day. Like in the morning, he wakes up, goes films his video, and then he goes about his day. And then his editors edit. Yeah. Like that's literally like what he would do.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I do. Like the only reason so a gym that I go to. Well, I don't really go there. It's a gym that kind of like we had a trade-off deal. I
relationship?
film and I post, basically, and I just get to go film there for free.
Nice.
And so Stat Wellness, like fantastic gym, by the way.
Shout out Stat.
Yeah, Stat Wellness. They're not paying me for this.
They're sponsoring the Andrew Deitsch podcast. Shout out to our new sponsor, Stat Wellness.
It's a brand new gym, and
it looks great.
It's a beautifully made gym, and it's something you would never expect. So I was just like, let me go film here. The first time I went there, it just didn't feel right with videos, like filming in a gym, because I felt constricted. And like from my parking garage, like having it so open and everything, it was just like I felt constricted. So I was like, this would be a great place to do photos. So now I go and do photos separately. And so all my photos are usually at Stat Wellness, and then still my videos are still like where they originated, in a parking garage.
Have you had any weird encounters in the parking garage?
I found out my car got broken into when I went down there. Yeah, so like I was getting ready to actually like film, and I get a call from my apartment building, and I go downstairs and my car is broken into, and I was just like, oh shit, like are you kidding? Like I was about to film, like it was about to be a good day. Yeah, exactly.
That sucks.
But like people like come.
Did they steal anything?
No, I don't keep anything important in my car.
Smart.
So.
Smart guy.
And so for me, it was just like I get awkward moments of when people want to drive by, and now more people live in the building, so like I get angry when people park there. I'm just like, don't park in my spot.
Building spot.
Yeah, that's my spot, man.
That would be funny to make like a joke video of where like there's like a car in front of you, and you can just see your head like jumping up or something. Be like, someone parked in my spot today. Sorry, guys.
That's a good idea, actually.
That'd be a pretty funny piece of content, I think.
That's a pretty good idea.
Someone parked in my spot, but I'm still going at it, or something like that. That'd be pretty funny.
I think I can do that.
Yeah, I like that.
I might do
you
that.
You gotta tag me for that credit.
I'll tag you. I got you. I'll credit you for that.
Gotta get some of that clout.
I don't know why I never thought about that, actually. That's funny.
But yeah, like it is interesting. Like when you, like you said, the fact that you can kind of do it anywhere and everything. And the fact that people really resonate with that, and also your videos are almost like, I don't know if this is the right word, but almost kind of like hypnotic. Like the way that that your body moves, like you can tell that you're very in tune with your body and the way that it is moving, and people admire that.
And that's something I actually focus on. Is a lot of people like you said earlier, you were trying some of the moves that I was doing and stuff, right?
And I wasn't nearly as smooth.
and that's what. So this is actually a post I was gonna do tomorrow. It made me think of that. So a lot of people see these moves I'm doing, but they don't go into the mentality of, I can't fully do everything that he's doing right off the bat. Like that's just never going to happen. And something I just assume people knew how to do like a long time ago was that, they'll probably break up the movements. They'll probably do them at home, and like, they'll separate the movements out, practice them. And no one wants to do that. And so now I've learned to separate those movements in videos. And it becomes harder because it's like, how do you entice people to watch your videos when the moves you're doing are so simple? Yeah. So
maybe, it would be, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was going to say one thing that could be kind of interesting is if you post the video of the full movement, and then like when people swipe, there's like a step-by-step, like pictures almost, like step 1, put your hand here, step 2, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Or something like that. I don't know. But
no, that's actually something I've been thinking of doing, because a lot of people have been asking for like a beginner series. And so I was like, I don't want to do a beginner series like specifically on its own, because it's not.
Maybe on your YouTube channel or something.
Yeah. So that's, again, those are like things that I'm like still like kind of producing in my head.
For sure.
But with my schedule being like I said earlier, I'm a photographer, I'm a videographer, and I do this on the side. And all of these are side business. I'm in law school.
And you're a full-time law school student.
Yeah, I'm a full-time law school student. So it's like,
when do you have time to sleep?
Yeah, exactly. And like I try to like go home and like still have a personal life, and it's just like it takes a lot. And so getting all this done and trying to plan all of it, it's exhausting.
For sure, bro.
And a lot of people
feel that.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand how much time goes into Instagram and podcasting, even like just different things. So and that's where I see like that dynamic of people don't understand certain things. They think that, all this content that I'm giving out is so easy to give out. It's free and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
I'm taking precious time out of my day to help someone else
Totally.
out.
There's an interesting conversation I've heard recently too, where people are like, you said you didn't even consider yourself an influencer until recently. Like, I personally don't like that word influencer either, but like, I don't know what other word to use, right?
And that's why I just accepted it. I was just like, you know what? There's no other word, and that word has stuck, so I might as well just
totally. It's like the same with like clout. You know, it's like it's like instead of, I heard on this podcast I was listening to the other day, they were like, instead of saying like, oh, this person actually just wants to be in this video because they just want followers because you have a lot of followers. Instead, you can just say clout. They want the clout, and you understand what they're saying. Same thing with influencer. Like, oh, he makes videos for Instagram and people all like his content and they watch it, and you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So like about 4 or 5 months ago, I had no idea what any of these words were. I didn't know what clout was. Dude, I felt like an old grandpa going like, online and being like, what the fuck is clout? Like,
it's actually kind of an old word that became like taken back sort of with like this whole culture, but
and so I was just like, what is clout? Like, people keep mentioning on their YouTube page or YouTube videos and like stuff like that. So I wanted to know what clout was. I was like, how do I gain clout? Like, what the hell?
I gotta get my clout clout points up.
Yeah, I was like, I've been working so hard. Let me get some clout, man. And I ended up like learning what these things were. You got the clout, bro. You got the clout. I ended up learning what these things were, and I was just like, okay, this makes sense. But I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone in the industry. I don't know anyone, and that's what really like it. That's what kind of took like the whole turn of being lonely. And I saw where like a lot of the Instagrams go, because a lot of Instagrammers, they do become lonely. They see these comments and so that's something I avoid, is like going into the comment section. I hate going in there because the human mind works, and that's what I hate about like Instagram sometimes, because the way a lot of people get like engagement and stuff is, oh, I'm gonna reply to every comment.
Totally.
And I don't believe in that. I don't care about engagement as much like that, and that's why I was so surprised when I started getting followers and when I started doing better on Instagram. Because if you go back, I will reply to people in the comment section if I either know them and they're taking their time out of their day to comment on my page or my post, or if it's an important question that I think needs to be answered. Otherwise, the human psyche, it just works a certain way. You see 50 good comments, but you'll see one bad comment, one person cussing at you, one person saying you suck, and your mind automatically diverts into, oh shit, I must suck.
How much hate do you get on your posts? Because I haven't dove into your comment section that deep, but like, do you...
From India, I get a lot.
Really?
Yeah, and that's
the surprising part. Why are they hating?
Because they don't know what kind of fitness they don't know basically what I'm trying to put out there, and they don't understand it.
Do they think you're being like disrespectful or something?
No. It's just that they think that I'm basically useless or worthless or like different things like that. And I get messages too. There's just like, so I get like tons of messages every day, and I delete at least like 150 messages a day because I'm just like, and I go through the messages because it's just like comments where you get one or two very important questions, and those are the things that make everything worth it. Yeah, that's what makes me like want to do more. Yeah. And so for me, it was
but you do get a lot of DMs of people that are like they're telling you you're stupid or whatever.
Oh yeah. They're just like, this is worthless. Like, why are you doing this?
And it's mainly from India?
Yeah. Well, no, you get stuff from here too, but it's a lot of people will just point out the negative stuff. They'll point out. So like, again, they don't know my background. They don't know anything about me. I come from a background of stress, depression, a lot of other stuff. I used to have a perfect hairline, like started losing hair. I have big ears, like different things like that. So like I said, I'm not the perfect person. I'm not the Steve Cook of the fitness world. Like, that's never gonna happen. But for me, it's when people say these things, they don't understand the effect they're having on other people. And so for me, it was a way of diverting around it. It was like, I don't want to see these comments. I don't want to see these messages, but I will have to eventually. So I stopped replying. I was just like, I can't do that. I can't go through every comment. And another thing is, you have fans, like and you have fans that are religiously looking at your posts.
Totally.
And so when they do that, you also have like, when you comment back, just a bullshit comment just to get engagement, you don't realize the effect you're having on them. These people get so happy, especially when, so let me put it into this perspective. You have me, who's grown up here his entire life, who's technically been privileged. Yeah, my parents worked their asses off all their lives, like gave up everything for us as immigrants. But when you have that story, right? And then you go to India, you go to a small, tiny little village, and that person, yeah, he has Instagram. Yeah, he has, he's like following other people, but that person, if he's my fan and I give him a bullshit comment, this guy's gonna get so happy. But then if he comments again and I give him that same bullshit comment,
he's gonna be like,
oh, this guy's just, no, like he doesn't care about me. Like, and so the way I see it is it's better to not reply than it is to reply.
If you're not going to take the time to make genuine comments.
Exactly. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. If you're not going to take the time,
like if you're just replying saying thanks with a heart or something like that to every comment, you're doubling the amount of comments on paper, but they're all bullshit.
They're all bullshit.
But you are saying that if you are going to take the time to respond to comments in a meaningful way, then it might be worthful.
Exactly.
It might be worth it. Worthful.
It's worth your time. Yeah, it's worth your time, the other person's time. It's in general. You're just doing the right thing. And I know that doing the right thing isn't what everyone thinks.
Yeah,
especially
it's about the intent.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
And so when moving forward, it's just always like, why are you I question myself, why are you doing this? Why am I posting every day? And even when I didn't have followers, why did I post every day? When I had 200-300 followers, 400 followers, why am I doing this every day? It's because that one person that messages me saying, dude, I'm inspired by you. I'm starting to do your workouts and I'm starting to see a difference. That's what makes it worth it. That's literally all that matters to me. And so when companies obviously I'm going to reach out to companies and try to monetize because I'm putting in a lot of effort. But at the same time, that's not my main goal. That's not where I'm at. If I can inspire one person every day to come and look at my stuff and learn from it, that's all that matters. That's all that has ever mattered so this runs back to why I even got into the fitness industry. So I never thought about it. When I used to use my Instagram, it was for personal reasons, barely ever posted. I hated Instagram at the time. And I didn't see the value in it that I do now. So, like I said, I come from a background of depression and a bunch of other stuff. So whenever I started law school, it just really hit hard. I didn't have a life. I couldn't give to my personal life basically. And it just took away so much time that eventually I became depressed and I stopped working out. I started eating a lot. And for me, I love queso, love pizza, I love all that stuff. So for me, it was just like, all right, I'm constantly packing on this fat. I was 195 pounds.
Wow,
when I started.
Out of shape.
I was like
earlier when you said you're 50 pounds heavier, I thought you meant like bodybuilding. Like I worked down to get to my functional weight, but you were saying you were overweight.
I was overweight. And at the time I didn't realize. So at the time I didn't realize.
You're 195.
195.
So now
pounds.
You're like 155, something like that, 160.
I'm around 150 now.
Nice. Wow.
I constantly go from 145 to 150, just going back and forward. But for me, at that point, I had to get up and say, I need to start working out. I need to force myself to do something. So what
was that deciding moment for you? Was there a night where you looked at yourself in the mirror and saw yourself?
Oh no, I was laying in bed and I felt like shit. I don't even remember. I probably ate something that just really made me feel like shit, or saw a picture of me that I was just like, oh damn, I look fat. And I was like, all right, it's time for me to
inspired you to make a change.
Yeah, it's time for me to get up, do something, change myself for the better. So in 10, 15 years, I'm not I'm not walking like a 70-year-old
You see where this
man.
is going.
Yeah, I saw where it was going, and so
I think that's the main thing. That's really important for people to understand. Is like I don't think people take the time to actually sit in their thoughts for a second and play out the life that they're living and see where it's gonna go.
And it's so important because a lot of people, like right now, the kind of fitness I work on is, again, focusing on mobility, flexibility, your day-to-day life, right? Things I teach people are things they can incorporate in a day, like a burpee. Everybody hears the word burpee and they think instant hell, right? They think, shit, I can't even do more than 10 burpees. Like, it's hard as hell. Okay, but have you ever thought about you laying on the ground on your stomach and just getting up? That's a burpee. Essentially, that is a burpee.
Yeah.
And so you're literally just getting up off the ground, doing a little hop, and going right back to the ground. That's all you're doing. But if you can't even do that 10 times, what are you doing with your life? Like, you need to start analyzing where this is going. Why are you living your life like this? And so those tiny little exercises that I'm like, oh, this is a mobility exercise. This is some. I don't say what muscle it is because that's not what matters.
Yeah.
It's not what muscle. Why are you focusing on one muscle when it's your entire body that needs improvement?
Totally. And a lot of those mobility exercises that you're doing are, even if the core focus is on your quads or whatever,
Exactly.
You're still gaining all these stabilizers and like because you're using your full body. Even your arms are getting it. Like, I see you like doing stuff with your arms in a specific way. Like, and a lot of your entire body is.
And those movements, those tiny little movements, people are like, oh, he's probably just doing it to look cool. And like, so I'm like, no, that arm movement going back, it's helping my shoulders stretch out. It's helping my chest cavity come up. It's literally there's so many little tiny movements that matter that a lot of people are just like, oh, this is bullshit. Why would I do this? Why would I even take the time to? But then when they try it, they realize, oh shit, I can't even lift my legs like that.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm trying to take this is fitness has become a thing with just bodybuilders. It's become where, powerlifters, CrossFitters, like all that. Like, I just want to get big. I just want to get like ripped, all that. But I've been there. Undergrad, I lifted every day. That 195 pounds, it used to be like a lot of muscle. And so for me to go from that to fat to this, it was a huge learning curve. Because back then it was just like isolated movements, all that. And now it's just like you're using your full body to its maximum capacity. And I do it in HIIT form. So I'm using it for 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. And I repeat that for 30, 40 minutes straight sometimes. So a lot of people, when they see that, they're just like, oh, like, I can do that. And then they try it. And then they see how hard it is. And when I train people too sometimes on the side. Right now I have 2 clients. And when I train them, one of them commented on an exercise that I was teaching her. It was a crawl hold. So it's just like a bear crawl, but you hold that position. And she was like, that's it? Okay, cool.
So you crawl, hold.
You're just in like a hold position.
Gotcha.
That's it. You're
like a plank kind of.
Yeah, kind of like a plank, but your knees are kind of up. And so
she's like, that's it?
She was like, that's it? I just got to hold that? Okay, cool. By the end, she was almost in tears. And it was only 5 rounds of 30 seconds of work and 30 seconds of rest alternating. And I was just like, you see what I mean? Like, these small movements are what matter. And so for me, when I projected my life like that, when I saw, like 40 years ahead, I was like, where would I end up if I just keep going like this? I said, no, I need to immediately change. So obviously I went to the best source in the world, YouTube, and was like, let me look up who is like either trending right now, who has like free workouts out there, like where can I start basically to lose weight? Because I've always worked to gain mass. Now I need to go the opposite way. And so for me, I wanted someone with quality. I wanted someone who has trained someone and I've seen the difference. So surprisingly, I went with a celebrity trainer, and it was Luke Zocchi. He's Chris Hemsworth's trainer. So when I started his program, he didn't know me. I didn't know him at the time.
It was a free program or?
No, it was a paid program. At the time, it was $150, and I was like, I need to spend this money. If I spend money, I'll do it.
You'll commit. Yeah. That is the problem with free information, especially on Instagram. No one commits because it's all free.
Exactly.
And they're not attached to the outcome at all.
And so for me, it was like, okay, well, if I commit to this, I commit. And it was a 3-month program, and it was all HIIT workouts, just like I practice right now. And I still do his program every day. It's a part of my like regular training because it works so well. I lost 55 pounds through his workouts.
That's crazy, man.
Through
Congrats.
that, yeah, thank you. And like just in those 3 months, I lost that. And then I just maintained it. Because I did.
It was all you still maintained like most of your muscle mass too. Like you were losing, you were shedding fat.
I was shedding fat.
Yeah.
It was mainly fat. Obviously, you're gonna lose muscle.
Some, yeah, of
because you're not getting that pump basically that you normally would during weightlifting. And so, whenever I started his program, the first day, and this is what really put it into perspective. So his workouts are 20 minutes long every day.
They're HIIT workouts, high intensity interval training for those who don't know.
Yeah. So they're HIIT workouts, and whenever I started, the first exercise on there was 5 rounds of jump squats. It was dude. At the time, I was like, I'm gonna get the advanced one, not the beginner one. I've worked out my entire life. Jump squats. I did 4 rounds. My legs were shaking so badly. I went home, got on the couch and just passed out.
Literally.
I was like, I didn't even finish the workout. I was just like, I can't. I'll start tomorrow. Like, I literally can't do it.
A lot of people have that. They've been out of the gym for so long, and then they try to go back so hard. They're like, I know what I can do. I'm gonna go back super hard. And then they're so sore they can't even go back the next day or whatever. And
a lot of people don't understand they need to take it easy.
Totally.
Which I learned very quickly. And so obviously I had already spent the money. I already started doing the program. And so I was like, you know what? I'll just stick to this. I'll do what I can. Next day, killed it. Next day after that, killed it. Kept going. And that's when, I think the second day actually is when second day of the program is when I started posting on Instagram that I was doing this. At the time, it was just like, I want to take people through my fitness journey, show them that
and a little bit weight. Maybe of peer encouragement,
exactly,
and
it wasn't for this. It wasn't to become an influencer.
Yeah,
and it was just literally just to lose weight and show people what's happening. And so after that, and I would tag him. I would tag Luke Zaki and everyone. His Instagram name is Zoko Body Bro. Definitely check him out.
This episode's been sponsored by
But he started liking my stuff. He started following me. He started at that point, obviously.
Did that feel good?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
pumped?
Yeah, and so it encouraged me more, and it just got me going. I was just like, all right, now I got to keep going. This guy's he has his eyes on me, and so I was like, I got to go harder every day. Started eating healthier. Started staying at a caloric deficit, doing the normal stuff that you need to, and.
Did his program include nutrition stuff too?
It explained a little.
But it wasn't like a meal plan.
The thing is, it came with a meal plan.
Gotcha.
It came,
that's cool.
But I'm vegetarian. I've been vegetarian my entire life. Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Yeah. That's really interesting.
And so for his program at the time didn't come with a vegetarian meal plan. And now there's...
It's not possible, bro.
Now there's a separate vegetarian meal plan that he has. I just never got it because I eat what I eat normally.
Yeah.
So I wanted to stay with that. And so... I ended up just doing his workouts, kind of following the same way he eats, but not,
substituting.
Exactly.
That's interesting, man. I didn't know you're vegetarian.
Yeah.
Do you ever really post about that on your page or not really?
Not really.
Huh.
Yeah. I used to when I used to do food posts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I tried that out for a little bit, and it just never
caught on. People like the workouts better.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, man. Yeah, because I've definitely experimented with a lot of different types of diets and stuff like that, and I've never gone full vegetarian. I think a lot of a lot of the benefits of being vegetarian or vegan or whatever. Also, just a lot of people experience like such a massive difference right off the bat of doing that because they have such a massive influx of vegetables and stuff that they weren't even eating before at all.
And another thing I've noticed is a lot of people end up feeling. So I've been vegetarian my entire life, so I don't know that difference either, right? Yeah. It's like if someone ate meat in their entire life, they wouldn't know the difference.
Exactly.
Well, what I hear from other people is as soon as they stop eating meat, as soon as they stop drinking dairy, they start feeling 100 times better. Their skin starts to feel better. Like everything on their body is much better. And that's when I started like, and I never push being vegetarian or vegan on anyone.
That's cool, man.
Because it's not something, it's not my choice, right?
And it's not something you got into because of fitness. You were just like that from the get.
Exactly.
So like that's interesting.
Yeah. And so for me, it was just like, it was cool learning the differences between like, oh, what are the benefits of being vegan? What are the benefits of not eating meat or drinking dairy or anything like that?
So you say you're vegetarian, not vegan.
I'm not vegan.
What are things that you eat that are not vegan? You eat cheese.
Cheese.
Do you eat eggs ever?
I don't eat eggs. I used to. I stopped eating eggs. Because like I got into the mindset of like, oh, maybe eggs are vegetarian, blah, blah, blah. But then I was just like, you know what? Nah, I'm good. And then
fair enough, bro.
Yeah.
And do you
it was at that point it was just a personal choice. It was, and that's the thing. It was a personal choice. I could have just continued, and I still eat eggs and like cookies and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna eat eggs and cookies.
So it's not as much of like an ethical thing. Like a lot of vegans are in it because they're ethically vegan, but you're kind of like, I'm a vegetarian, don't eat meat, stay away from eggs, stay away from fish, all that. Do you eat fish?
No, I don't.
Stay away from fish, all that. But like, if there's a cookie with some eggs in it, like, I'm
gonna eat the cookie. Yeah, like I don't care as much. Like it's not straight up meat, you know. It's not like flesh and bone. So I don't care. Where
interesting.
Yeah, and so
and cheese, it's like it comes from like milk and stuff. So like it's not. Yeah.
But cheese, honestly though, like cheese is the only dairy product now that I cannot just take. Like if it weren't for cheese, I'd basically be vegan because I drink
leather
almond
strap
milk.
on your watch, bro.
Yeah. Fake leather. Definitely not an expensive watch.
Is it fake leather?
Yeah, it's fake. It's definitely fake leather.
I'm just trying to call you out on something. I was trying to get you on something, bro. I'm just messing with you.
So yeah, like for me, like I drink almond milk. And milk is a huge part of my life. So drinking, I used to drink regular milk all the time, every day. And now I switched to almond milk just because it tasted better.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I was just trying to be vegan. It just tasted better.
I think a lot of people are switching away. I haven't drank. I mean, again, like, you know, if there's like cookies or like something random or like ice cream, like, yeah, I'm all in. But like, as far as like just straight up like drinking dairy milk, I've felt, because I used to be the same. Like all growing up, drank tons of milk.
Exactly, yeah.
And then like my whole family kind of switched over to almond milk as well. And ever since then, I kind of feel sick when I drink it. And I don't know if it's like my body adjusted or if it's like I was really feeling that bad all the time and now I don't know. I don't think that's always the case. Some people say that kind of stuff and they're like, well, that's how you used to feel all the time, bro. And it's like,
I don't think that's the case either. It's just your body was adjusted to it.
Totally.
And now it's not adjusted to it. Like when I drink milk now though, it's like perfectly fine. Like regular milk, because opposite from you, I'm the only one that switched to almond milk. And so when I go home to like stay with my parents or anything like that, it's regular milk. And I'm like, okay.
You're like, I'm gonna eat a bowl of cereal.
Yeah, so the other day I drank some, and I love Nesquik. So I'm like a huge chocolate milk person. I'm still a kid at heart when it comes to that. And so I went home and I was like, Mom, this is the first time I'm drinking like regular 2% milk after like 3 months of not drinking it. And it was like, it was fine. Like I was perfectly okay with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I was saying with like the whole diet thing, it just kind of like stuck with me. I evolved through the time. I adjusted. I tried intermittent fasting, which it worked. For me, it worked.
Do you still continue to do that, or what's your...
Every now and then.
Yeah.
So I'll do it for like 2 or 3 weeks on, and then I'll stay off of it for like a week or so, and then get back on it.
I think that's important to mix everything up every once in a while. Throw your body for a loop.
Exactly. Your body needs to be surprised, and that's what I hate about. So I go in blindly whenever I say the next words that I'll say, but because I don't know what the person in front of me has tried or likes. And
true.
So I blindly say it because what I believe, diets like the keto diet or any other diets that restrict foods are terrible for you for that very reason. Yes, it's good to surprise your body, but once you start yo-yoing, that's when it's a problem. So restricting foods from your diet, like a lot of people start saying, or say to me, oh, they're restricting carbs. They're not eating bread anymore. They're trying not to eat bread for a month or so. And I'm like, well, okay, cool. You ate bread your entire life. Now your body is not getting that same like nutrition as it did before. And the reason I put it in air quotes is because carbs at an excess, anything at an excess is not good for you.
Totally.
I can eat watermelon all day. I can eat like 20 watermelon all day and still gain fat. Like that can still happen. And a lot of people don't understand that dynamic. It's a difference between eating too much and eating just the right amount and not about what you're eating. So a lot of people will restrict carbs or they'll stop eating bread. And I'll tell them, look, if you stop eating bread, your body will react in a yo-yoing way because that's not a lifestyle you want to live for the rest of your life. You're doing it for a short-term gain, which the keto diet and stuff, cool, great for short-term gain. And like that's amazing, it's cool, but as soon as you start implementing bread back into your diet, your body's going to be like, oh shit, I haven't had this for a while. Let me store as much as I can before he stops doing this again. So now all of that is going straight into your like, I don't know, just like it's just saving all of it.
It's like Squidward in that episode of SpongeBob where he eats all the Krabby Patties and his thighs explode.
Yeah. So it's basically at that point, it's just like you're just storing all that. And your body doesn't know how to react to it. And so that's why I like kind of like steer people away from it as much as I can.
Just to play devil's advocate, couldn't people kind of make the same sort of argument towards vegetarian though? Because you're like limiting, you're saying like any sort of diet that limits your choices, like wouldn't vegetarian kind of fall under that? Or is it, or do you classify it as different?
But it's a little different because it's a lifestyle. And that's the difference. It's a lifestyle because I can cut out bread, I can cut out cheese, I can cut out all that for a limited amount of time. But how are you going to keep doing that for the rest of your life?
Some people make keto a lifestyle.
They do.
For sure.
They do. And they should be proud of that.
For sure.
But at the same time, a majority of people
aren't
do
going to
it for the
trend.
Sustain
it. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
And
I did it for like 3 months.
Yeah. And I'm sure it worked.
Yeah.
That's
it was an interesting experiment with my body because it was the first time I was actually very, very specifically calculating my macros, and it got me very in touch with my own like, because I switched things up and I got to feel how I felt with, oh wow, this is how I feel when I don't have this, or this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people I think are just so mindlessly eating food that they never think about how it makes them feel, or
even
like
what's going in their body.
Yeah, or you know, like for example, like when you start working out or you start doing like functional movements and stuff like that, you start to get very in tune with like all of your body, and so when something's off, you can like tell. And I think that's something that's interesting. Like as I get older and more like have a more consistent schedule and things like that. I think like as a kid, I never even like thought about this kind of stuff, but for sure, like I was imbalanced in a lot of different ways, but I never even created some sort of baseline to know what those were or like where I was like falling out of place or whatever.
Yeah, and that's definitely the case. So, I mean, for me, whenever I start eating food now, it's the same way. Like I focus on, so like I said, without restricting that, like what I'm taking in, dude, you know those like 3 months that I did Luke Zoki's program? I ate tacos 1 month. All month long. I ate tacos. I made homemade tacos and I just ate that. It had queso in it. It had like guac. It had everything that a normal person would eat outside in a restaurant, right? I just learned how to make them at home. And I ate that for a month.
What did you use as your like protein source in vegan tacos?
Black beans.
And
nice. I would season them, everything, like they taste great, and my friends even love them, right?
Beans are underrated as far as like diet and stuff goes.
And they taste amazing, especially if you season them right. they taste amazing.
For sure.
But what's funny is I ate tacos for a month straight and still lost 20 pounds that month.
Yeah.
I ate everything, and I literally put sauce all over it, like everything, and all you have to do, all it comes down to is staying at a caloric deficit. That's all it comes down to. If you
and for people that don't understand that, that's basically you're consuming less calories than you're burning on a daily basis, so you have a net calorie deficit.
Yeah.
Like you're at the end of the day, you burn more calories than you consumed.
Yep. And and a lot of people, again, to add on to that, what they don't understand is you have a metabolic basal rate or a basal
It plays a
metabolic
big
rate.
role.
Exactly. And so on average at the time when I actually did get my body tested, wanted to know what was going on with it. And so I was burning around 1700 calories just doing absolutely nothing. And that really put things into perspective too. Like if I only eat if I still eat about 1500 calories, I can still lose weight. And that means I can still eat 3 meals a day or 2 meals a day and a protein shake or something to counterbalance everything. And if I work out, as long as I work out, I'm good.
Because you're burning a lot, especially in your HIIT workouts.
Exactly. And HIIT workouts, what's great about them is they differ from weightlifting in one very impactful way. It's with weightlifting, you're working one muscle. You're not working the entire body. Obviously, you're still burning calories throughout your entire body, but it's not as focused.
With bodybuilding style
Yeah,
lifting.
exactly. And so whenever you start weightlifting, and this is just general classic weightlifting, and then that's why I didn't mention bodybuilding, is because that could mean a whole different thing too.
Totally.
Right?
Or powerlifting. Because with a compound movement like a squat or a deadlift or a bench, you are hitting muscle groups rather than isolating a bicep curl. You're only hitting your biceps.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand is all these different things have their own different movements and their reasons. Yeah. And so I specifically mentioned weightlifting is because when people hear weightlifting, they think, oh, isolated movements and that's it. Well, with weightlifting, you burn maybe 300-400 calories during the workout, and that's if you work out for 2 hours. And then your recovery time, that's when you're burning a majority of the calories.
Afterwards, yeah.
And that lasts for about 24 hours, right? But you'll burn about a max of 1,000 calories. Where HIIT workouts, you burn about 400 or 500 calories in 30 minutes. And that's the bonus. I count that as the bonus because you burn 3,000 to 4,000 calories during your recovery period, which lasts up to 48 hours.
Wow. Because you're just throwing the freaking kitchen sink at your body in the HIIT workout. Huh.
Yeah. Because you have literally torn microfibers at this point in your body that you have never used before. Your muscles, obviously the bigger portions of the muscles you use every day, but those little tiny portions when you're doing an explosive workout, when you're doing something that makes you do a quick turn or something like that, well, those are things you've never done before.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's why a sprinter's body is typically more jacked than a marathon
cross-country runner. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because they've got those short twitch or what's it called again?
Twitch muscle fibers.
Yeah. They're this. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I wanted to talk a little bit about your upbringing too, because you've mentioned it a few times, and obviously it kind of plays a role in this. You were born in India, right?
I was, yes.
And you moved here when you were 5, you said?
Yeah.
Do you have siblings that
I have an older brother.
One older brother.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And you guys as a family, your parents and you and your brother all moved to America?
Yeah.
And what was the main obviously anyone who moves anywhere is moving because they think it's a good decision for their family and a better life and blah blah blah, but what was
that actually, and the thing is that actually was the goal for my parents. We had a fantastic life in India. A life where we didn't have to worry about anything. And coming here, my dad didn't really know anybody, didn't really have any help.
Did your parents speak English pretty well, or?
No, my mom barely spoke English.
Really?
And same with my dad. He spoke it a little, but not great. They got better through the years, but back
At home, I'm assuming you didn't speak English. Yeah,
no, it was strictly speaking our maiden language, which is Gujarati, and we spoke. And if I came home and I spoke in English, I got spanked. Like that's how it was. Like that's how our household was. Because I appreciated that from my parents, because it was like I stayed in touch with my culture. A lot of Indians in our community nowadays, like, they can't speak our language, and
it's like shameful, kind of.
Well, it's not exactly shameful, because it's become a norm, right? But it's like people get impressed when we meet other people's parents, when we meet like other older Indians, they get impressed because we speak the language really well. So it's really interesting, like, just seeing that difference.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because I was an au pair in one time I was in Spain and one time I was in Italy, and so I was with these families, and the goal of like an au pair, I don't know if you know what that is. It's basically like a nanny,
like
kind of.
Yeah.
And so I would like take care of these kids, and the main goal is to just immerse them in the English language while I'm with them. Okay. So I'm not allowed to like, they literally are like, even if you know Spanish, like, don't speak to them in Spanish, because we want them to only speak English around you. And it's funny because the Spanish family, the next au pair they had after me, he spoke fluent Spanish, and the kids had no idea.
Oh, wow.
Because from the get, they were like, we don't even want them to know that you speak Spanish, because then they'll just get lazy and they'll speak to you in Spanish because they know you'll understand. So they would speak to him in Spanish, and he would have to pretend like he didn't know what they were saying, which is hilarious. Because basically, like, they would do that to me sometimes, because I knew some Spanish, but not enough to be like completely fluent. And so like they would say something to me, and they were surprised when I knew it, because I'm like, oh, I know what this means from like Spanish class, but I couldn't like say something back to them in Spanish really, but I could like comprehend. So it was really, it's interesting, because when they would come home, their parents, of course, would speak in Spanish. They live in Spain, but it was really hard to enforce, like, okay, guys, today we're only going to speak in English. It's like, shut the fuck up, Mom. Like, I'm not going to speak in English. Like, shut up. Like, I'm going to speak in Spanish.
Yeah.
So, like, it's interesting, because you were an Indian family that moved to America, and they wanted you to only speak, your native language, but it was actually that's almost kind of the better situation, because at home you're getting the experience of maintaining your culture, and then like at school or whatever, you're learning like proper English with your peers and your teachers and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And I had to go through ESOL classes. Like it was like one of those things where I actually I was hooked on phonics, man. Like it was like that, and that's when phonics was popular, like back then. And so like we actually went through phonics, and I don't think my brother did, but I definitely did. Like stayed after school, and like took the time to learn, because I was only 5.
But you were really young, you're only 5, so that's like a good age. I feel like if you're gonna was it like, do you even remember really? Because when you're 5, like, you kind of start to develop your own personality. You're kind of but you probably don't really remember much.
I remember like. I have like these like pictures in my head from like kindergarten and stuff.
And probably like memories that people have told you that you kind of like sort of can replay.
I still remember like crying when I saw my brother in the school, like walking by in the hallway and like running to him. Because it was like one of my first times in America. And so like I still remember crying every afternoon, like after school was over, and not knowing where to go, because I just didn't know I was supposed to stay after school for ESOL classes.
Oh no.
So I had no idea what was going on.
Oh, you're probably so scared.
Well, yeah, exactly. And so, and my brother was home. and so for me, it was just like, all right, cool. I'm just going to stay here and cry because I have nowhere to go. And then they started putting me like in the after school PE classes and stuff. And I wasn't supposed to be there either. I was supposed to be taking ESOL classes.
You were doing HIIT workouts.
It was great. It was really funny.
That's funny, man.
But yeah, it's interesting because growing up here was, I don't remember growing up in India at all. Like I remember my grandparents and staying with them. My parents and my brother did come here like a year before me. But then they came back and got me.
Interesting. Yeah. So you lived with like your grandparents for like a year or something?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So they actually took care of me because for some reason I couldn't get a visa. And it's still like a gamble to get a visa in India.
What's the situation like right now? Like, what did you guys eventually get citizenship, or you got a green card or something?
Yeah.
Interesting. What was that process like for you?
Again, I was
annoying?
too young to know,
Oh,
and that's
okay.
the thing is
Because if your like parents become citizens, then you kind of like automatically gotcha.
yeah, we weren't 18 yet when we became citizens. Like
That
I think,
makes sense.
I
You
think
didn't
I
have
was
to
only,
go
like,
through all the classes and bullshit. Gotcha.
I don't know exactly, so definitely don't quote me. I think it was 7 years you have to stay here continuously.
Quote him on it. I'm just kidding.
7 years you have to stay here continuously, and then you can apply to become a citizen, and I think that's what it is.
Huh. But it's not anything like DACA or anything like that. Like you guys.
No. It was just like
That's cool.
Because we had a green card and we had a visa.
Did you have to forfeit the Indian citizenship too? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
So now you're technically not an Indian citizen at all.
No.
You don't have an Indian passport, just a U.S. passport.
Just a U.S. passport,
Huh.
and you can apply for dual citizenship. I can still apply for it if I want to, but I mean, there's like not a reason to.
Yeah.
Do it.
Is the Indian passport strong in like certain parts of the world?
Not really.
Yeah, because that is the interesting thing. Like when you're traveling, having an American passport is very valuable.
It is
because you can pretty much
go anywhere
that you'd want to
Yeah.
realistically go. You know,
I mean,
maybe some
if
like
people
kind
can take vacations in Iraq, where I don't know why they would, but they do.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, and so like that's what happens with Indian passports and stuff. Like applying for a passport is super easy. You can go in countries around there, but getting a visa to come to America is one of the hardest things they can possibly do.
Huh. Why do you think that is? Is just America just doesn't allow so many and there's so many Indians applying?
I think that's part of the reason. I think there's a lot going on in the background that a lot of people just don't know like what is actually happening. But I mean, I know people that fly into America after they get a visa and get turned back around and get sent back.
Even though they have a visa in their passport. Huh. That's interesting, man. That's crazy.
Because technically, legally, the way it works is you are not an American citizen, or you are not technically in America at an airport.
Until you cross over.
Until you cross that security line to go after you pass customs.
Line and they stamp it.
Yep. You are technically still not in America. You don't have any rights.
It's kind of like being in international waters or something. Yeah. It is really strange.
Yeah. And it's and that's what like really like changes people's perspectives on that is, oh, like I can't fly in with the rights. Like, are you kidding? Like, and a lot of people don't know that.
And like maybe you don't even have the money to like get a return flight. Like, so if you don't have that, like,
well, they just send you back.
They just send you back.
They just send you back on the next flight out. Yeah.
So at least you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But still.
But they take your visa too.
Oh,
if it's
man.
for a specific reason, first of all, they'll detain you. And then they'll also take your visa. So
it's messed up, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an interesting system. I don't really know how we fix it, but I'm all for like, you know, I'm a fan of like the concept of open borders because I think the more like freedoms we
there
have.
has to be some regulation. But
I think
not
there definitely needs to be some regulation as far as dangerous people that we don't really want in the country.
Not just where it is right now. You don't need that much regulation.
No, exactly. I think, you know, if there is a way that we can safely like kind of regulate who's coming in and at least keep track of it rather than just like straight up putting the ban hammer on everybody, because the bad people are going to figure out the way to sneak in one way or the other.
Yeah, there's ways to get in.
It's kind of like gun stuff. It's like you can make laws about guns, but like you've already opened Pandora's box. Guns already exist and bad people have them. If you think bad people are just going to give up their guns so easily, you got another thing coming. So it's like same thing with regulations of any kind. You're only going to deter the like probably good people from even attempting. The bad people are going to try to do it no matter what.
Yeah, I mean like that's the thing though. Like, so something I like to talk about when I have opinions about that as well, but like it's like drinking. It's like underage drinking.
Yep.
Right? So
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen no matter what. Especially like when it's illegal, right? When we all want to do what's illegal. We all want to do what we are told that you can't do. And we're like, because we have that curiosity.
Totally.
And then when we turn 21, you're just like, yeah, I don't want to drink anymore. Like, I haven't drank in 2 years.
It's so true, man.
And it's like, I don't drink. I don't like, and that's the thing is, I kind of agree with the whole gun control thing, but at the same time, I don't with you, because it's like, if you do restrict guns, the bad people will find it, but a majority of the people won't be committing the crimes. A majority so that dynamic is like the opposite of drinking.
Yeah, I'm not against gun control in the fact that I don't think we need reform.
Yeah.
Because I think we definitely need reform in the same way that I think you should go through a certificate and a license to get a car.
Yeah.
I think there should be a similar sort of
Some
test
kind of
and whatever.
regulation, yeah.
Dude, in Canada, they're starting like June or like July something, like July 4th. Now, in order to fly a drone anywhere in Canada, you have to have a professional drone license, and it's almost like it's literally like 3 day. It's a 3 day course of like 10 hours. You have to take like a 30-hour course just to be able to fly a drone anywhere.
I'm honestly okay with that.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense because now it's so easy for a dumbass to get a drone and crash it into a crowd of people. Like,
or
I understand.
crash it on the highway on a car, like something like that. So.
Yeah, and like I get that, but again, it's like drones are already out there, idiots are already out there. Now it's like, it's just opening up this possibility. So I think there's like a happy medium somewhere, right? It's like if it's still so easy to get, then we shouldn't like for example, if you're gonna ban drones like that, in order to even buy one, you should have to show the license rather than just be able to buy one and then have to get the license.
And that's the thing.
You know what I mean?
The way I believe that it could work is, like, this is just an example with the drones. So, I mean, again, a much smaller problem than guns. So, with drones, like, it could be
drone deaths are skyrocketing.
Even if there are drones out there, they will eventually, like, go out of date. Like, eventually, guns don't go out of date, so that's a different story. But
like the drone technology will get old and the batteries will die, blah blah blah.
There'll be bugs put in if you update it. There's gonna be bugs and like different things. So for me, it's like eventually people will have to buy a new drone. So you'll eventually have to get a new license, like stuff like that. So with guns, it's a different story and it's much more complicated.
Yeah.
So
well, the other thing that then happens is like how do we even stop? Like this is kind of going down the rabbit hole, but like for example, my friend Steele, he was actually on this podcast. He's a professional. He's a full-time professional drone pilot, and his drones are actually handmade. He makes his own drones. I mean, he buys all the parts, but like, just like you build a PC, he like builds drones. And so these little motors, that are on his drones aren't necessarily just for drones. They could be used for a multitude of things. Yeah. So it's like if you're building, and those drones don't have trackers in them. They don't have GPS in them. They don't have auto off, blah, blah, blah. So they're even more dangerous, but they're not regulated technically because they're not being imported. There's no taxes, blah, blah, blah. He's just building them based on stuff. So how do you, for example, obviously this isn't happening as frequently. People aren't really doing this, but just to go down the rabbit hole even further, if you were to like 3D print gun parts or something and make your own guns, how do you end up regulating that? And like, guns that are...
But I think that actually was an issue recently.
Because people were figuring out, on like GitHub or whatever, like the resource where people can put 3D printing like CAD files or whatever you need to like print the actual devices. There were plans for guns and gun stocks and all gun parts and stuff. And it becomes an issue of like, well... how do we regulate this?
As technology advances, like a lot of like you have to understand that there's gonna be like all these new things, and somebody needs to sit down and like talk about it. But
I'm just not a big fan of like governmental paternalism, like where the government is telling you what you ought not to do, rather than like what you can and cannot do. You know what I mean? Like, drinking age is 21, but we kind of know that everyone's still drinking underage. But like in Germany, like at 18 or like 16 or 14, I don't know what it is, you can buy beer, but you can't buy hard liquor. 16. Yeah. And then when you turn like 18, then you can buy hard liquor. So you kind of like wean people into it, sort of, And so in that way, once you turn 18, it's not some big thing of like, oh, now I can get fucked up.
And that's like, the thing, is like, that's why it's such a big deal here, and that's why it's such a huge problem.
Because there's a hard line.
Because there's a hard line at 21, and 21 is an age, people like to argue you're more mature at 21, and you're not. Yeah. Like, you're honestly still a baby at 21. I'm turning 26 in like almost a little over a week, and so I can tell you very like clearly that I was not at all mature at 21. And at 25 was when I started like realizing like how to live my life better. So for me, so for anyone to say like that at 21 people start realizing something. I'm like, no, they don't. They're just gonna drink more.
Again, it's like there's all kinds of things that you shouldn't do, but I don't think there should be laws about it. You know, it's like, do I think that you should be able to drink at 18 or whatever? Maybe. Do I think you should jump in a car after you drink? Hell no.
No.
Do I think that you should drink copious amounts of alcohol at any age? No. But like, me impeding your right to do so is not cool, you know? Because like, what you think is right for your body is not what I think is right for your body. What if there was a rule that you couldn't be vegetarian and you had to eat at least one piece of meat per month or something stupid like that?
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. Because like, I shouldn't. It's like maybe at the end of the day, it's who are drawing these hard lines and who are we allowing to make these decisions with it. Because at the end of the day, is it governmental paternalism or is it something that's actually benefiting society?
And I think at this point, there are generations currently at a war, basically, because you have a younger generation doing the majority of the living day to day, but because I mean the older generation really isn't like affected too much by. I don't want to like. So again, like there's so many different factors that play into this.
Yeah, we're putting a blanket statement.
Yeah,
but
I don't want to put a blanket statement.
For the sake of the argument, yeah.
And so the older generation isn't as affected by what laws are now created or what is happening currently in the government in general versus the younger generation. So our generation, we're not millennials. We're not. And they like to call us that, but I'm like, I was born in the 1990s.
Yeah.
How the hell am I a millennial? And so for me, it's like, okay, cool. You want to call us a millennial, but you don't want to take the time out to understand how we live our lives or even how we have to live our lives, how we're forced to live our lives through the day.
Or like what we value as like a quality of life or whatever. Because like traditionally, our generation is growing up valuing like experiences over things, or like we don't value success just by like having a house and a family and a nice car. Like we value happiness with other things, and we measure that based on different factors. Because
their generation was put through a lot of different things that our generation was. Their generation has seen different things that what our generation has seen, and so and that's where that war is happening. Is the generation that's creating the laws is the generation that is against the younger generation. And so for me, it's more so of like, there's not really that relevancy. Like we can't in any way be related because you're living a different life than I am. You're seeing different perspectives than I am.
As a law student, how do you feel like that like kind of affects like your perspective on things? Because you're obviously like going into the world of, I mean, depending on what field you're intending to go into, obviously it's very different depending. You could go into trying to be a politician, or you could be a freaking sports agent or something like that. Like you can do all kinds of law, but how does it affect you as like, just your outlook on things?
Just with my outlook, it's, so I wanted, at one point, I wanted to go into politics. I wanted to like see like where, how much change I could bring. And then I saw the corruptness. I saw like how much it takes, and I saw the reality of it. I mean, law school did teach me a lot.
Politics of it all. Yeah. The relationships and the backstabbing and the deals you got to make under the table and all the crap.
And it's mainly the lobbying. It's mainly, and a lot of people don't understand, like lobbying isn't just like people giving money to someone. Half the time, these people don't even know they're receiving money from a company that is against their beliefs. And they don't take that into perspective because they are told by third parties, fourth parties, fifth parties that, hey, we're going to receive money from these people and they're in line with our beliefs, but they're just saying what the other person wants to hear. And again, they're
saying one thing but doing another. Or whatever.
And there's again a lot of different factors.
So what would you say the current state of lobbying is today? Like, what is the reality of that? I mean, obviously, you can only know so much, not being like in the trenches or whatever. But like,
I don't know enough to give an opinion, and that's my honest answer.
But just from the outside, you're like, I don't even want to touch that world because it's so
diluted and complicated at this point that it's something I just don't
even
see
wanna
myself
touch.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you at all.
Yeah.
I've always said, the type of person that it takes to, for example, even become president is like almost by its own nature the type of person that you wouldn't want in that office. And I think it just happens with a lot of different people. And again, we're making blanket statements here. I'm not saying every politician is corrupt or every politician has ill intentions or anything like that. But it's like when, you've got some person that is really vying for this position of power, you also kind of have to take a step back and be like, why are they so interested in this position?
Exactly.
Is it sociopathic tendencies, or is it like they actually have a good heart and they want to make the world a better place? I hope that
it's the latter.
And I think unfortunately a lot of times people go in with good intentions and that world ends up corrupting them in some way, or they get jaded by the system and they realize that they can't get anything done.
And they get blamed for it though, but it's something that they could never control. It's something they don't realize that they never could control up until they became president or they came into power. And
I think the education system is kind of similar too. Like there's not much you can do as a teacher to change the education system besides be a good teacher.
And that's the sad part, is that the people doing the educating can't control how they're doing the educating. Yeah. And same thing with law. So a lot of people think that lawyers are the people who create the laws, and we're not. It's precedent that creates the laws. It's how cases were decided, depending on jurisdiction, depending on where that case was even placed, or was it appealed to the Supreme Court? Was it again, there's so many different factors that play into these things. Lawyers are just the practitioners. We didn't create, it's like doctors. They didn't create the body. They're just practicing what's going on in the body.
Literally practicing law, practicing medicine or whatever.
And it changes every day. And so same thing with medicine. Your body, and nobody's body's the same. There's going to be little tweaks, little changes in every single person's body. Same thing with the law. It changes every day. We're learning every day, and we practice what we learn every day. So a lot of people don't understand. And that's what I love about comments like, oh, lawyers are liars, all these stereotypical things that people say about lawyers. And
how do you know a lawyer's lying?
Yeah.
His mouth is moving or something stupid like that.
And I'm just like, our job is not to lie, it's to find loopholes that people left out.
It's true.
That is honestly our job.
Yeah.
That's it. But
in finding those loopholes, arguably you are you're exposing those, and then in theory they'll hopefully get fixed or whatever. Maybe.
Yeah, and that's a maybe. You don't know if it will, and that's the thing. A lot of the through law school you learn a lot of laws came into play because those laws didn't exist. They were pointed out. It was pointed out that this law needs to exist, and then the Supreme Court justices decided, here's the rule, that's the law, and that's what's gonna stay. So, and then future cases interpreted that rule in a different way. So it's basically one giant ball and then just different things hanging down from it. And that's how laws are created.
Do you think in general, again, it's kind of like a blanket statement that the way to fix things is through, this isn't maybe even the right way to say it, but through more regulation, or do we need almost an overhaul of our current system, as far as how much the world has changed in the past even 10-15 years? It almost seems like the world is changing too fast for what's even happening.
And I agree with you. I don't think that was the perfect way to say it, because there is no perfect way to say that. It's you put it into the right words when you said, because the times are moving much faster than anyone
we've almost
expected.
outgrown the system.
Yeah. And so the system, I think, needs to catch up. I don't think it needs to be restructured, because it worked up until a certain point, as well as it could up until a certain point, but it definitely needs to be restructured to catch up to where we are and to where it's going, not just where we are. It's funny because a lot of people I've talked to recently, the solutions they gave were for short-term gains. And again, this goes back to the whole fitness thing. It's a short-term gain is not a lifestyle.
No.
it's not something that future generations will be able to survive on. And so if you like stick with short-term gains and like try to change laws to help your case or help you, that might be completely the opposite of what the system needs itself.
Totally.
So just because you suffer, so it's like taking one for the team at that point, right? So like you have to take one for the team to help future generations move forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that, man. Like the long-term vision. And again, I'm as a general statement, I would say I'm for less regulation in a lot of areas, because I think I'm like a big believer in the market and all that kind of stuff. But I do think there is a lot of times where like laws and government and the system does need to step in to protect the best interest of the vast majority of people and stuff like that. Yeah. And so I'm always constantly battling that type of thing but what really like irks me recently is a lot of this stuff where it's becoming almost like you said, it's the precedent that changes things, and almost kind of like where society is as a whole that ends up changing things. Like, for example, like medicinal marijuana, now it's like becoming recreational like in so many areas, and yet we still have like people locked up for like non-violent drug crimes for selling weed. And it's like, it's literally legal in a lot of different states now.
So that's actually a law that came into play around the 60s and 70s when the president at the time, I can't remember who it was, but I really can't remember who it was. I think it was Reagan, wanted to block drugs from coming into the United States, mainly like much more harmful drugs, like significantly more harmful than marijuana. So things like cocaine, crack, things like that. So, I mean, he implemented that law, or whoever that president was implemented that law.
I think you're right. I think it was also his wife was like a big proponent of it too, or something. Yeah. The first lady was a big part of it.
Like implementing that law, okay, cool. It worked for the time being. I mean, not well, but it worked. Cocaine still came into the United States. Like,
of course.
Again, bad guys will do what bad guys will do. But, I mean, coming into the modern world, marijuana has less like effect on people than alcohol does.
Totally.
And
also the most ridiculous thing was when what's that old dude's name? He said in a hearing that the marijuana was going to continue to be a Schedule 1 drug, and that it had no medicinal properties.
I think you remember. I remember hearing that.
I can't remember who that.
I can't remember either.
He's such a loser. I hate that guy. I can't even remember his name. He's an old dude. But yeah, they came out basically saying, and there's also no medicinal qualities, and it's just a blatant lie at this point. Like, I'm not the biggest fan.
That's what's happening with the facts. It's like people are not looking at what the facts are, and that's where the harmfulness is coming in, because all these people go through schooling, go through all this stuff to become scientists. They do the research, they do all this stuff. They have put in the work, while the people creating the laws have never, they just read data. Yeah. And they interpret it the way they want, or they're just like, this is bullshit, I'm going to believe what I want.
Totally.
And so,
just throw it out the window.
It's like, what's the point? If you're not going to look at the facts, what's the point of even having scientists? Yeah. What's the point of even saying, or like, you're discrediting so many people at that point, so much work, so much like truth, that you're just living your own lie.
Yeah, it's true, man. I think that's the big outrage right now with the abortion thing, because everyone is the big argument is old white men shouldn't be controlling what women can and can't do with their bodies. That's like the main, I think, outrage. Yeah. And I would have to agree with that sort of, with that line of thinking. I completely agree. In that world, I talked about this on the last podcast a little bit. Like, I'm not the biggest. Abortion's not a fun subject. It's like killing unborn babies. Like, it's not fun. But at the end of the day, it's like, there's certain situations where like that might be the best option. Like,
and the thing is, or whatever. For me, when it comes to abortion, it's like, first of all, it should not be an uncomfortable subject.
Yeah. It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. Yeah.
And a lot of people tend to become uncomfortable when it comes to talking about anything related to sex. Though as soon as that word starts popping up, I mean, they can watch Game of Thrones all day long, but as soon as they have to start talking about it, it's just like, it makes them uncomfortable. Well, sex is something you do every day. And by that, I'm putting a blanket statement on old people when it comes to that. Because old people get uncomfortable talking about sex, not the younger generation. Some do still. But when it comes to sex, the older generation is harder to talk to about sex and about different things related to sex. So when it comes to abortion, the older generation has created this stigma almost like that abortion is something that is uncomfortable to talk about. It's just like gun violence. It's like, oh, right after some kind of gun like event happens where like a school shooting happens or something, well, we don't want to talk about it. We want to talk about like grieving. We don't want to talk about the school. Well, it shouldn't be uncomfortable.
It's the same narrative every fucking time.
Yeah, it shouldn't be uncomfortable because it just happened. And you've talked about it before, so why is it uncomfortable to talk about now?
Yeah.
And so...
No need to politicize it right now. We are grieving everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
And then 5 weeks down the road, oh, it's always the same thing with you liberals. You're always talking about taking away our guns.
Exactly. And so that's where it comes to abortion. It's just like, first of all, it never should be an uncomfortable subject to talk about because you being uncomfortable wastes time for that one person that needs an abortion. You taking that time out, that day out, that week out, because you are uncomfortable to talk about it, it is a life-changing event for someone who needs an abortion, someone who desperately needs one, someone who's on their deathbed. And so, like, this is something I just learned in law school too, and we went through the whole abortion thing. So when it comes to abortion, why does anyone get to decide for another woman when I understand if the baby is fertile, if the baby has like come to viability and is breathing and
that's where the gray area is. When is that day? Like, is it on day 23? Is it on day 67? Is it when they start breathing? Is it when they grow genitals? Is it when they, when is the time that it's living and not?
And so before Roe v. Wade was the one who said the first trimester, right? And then Planned Parenthood v. Casey came in and they said, we need to regulate a little bit more than just one trimester. It could possibly be before that viability kicks in. Okay, cool. That's fine. But 6 weeks in, people don't even know they're pregnant.
It's true.
There's no difference in their body. They might be throwing up. They might feel sickness, but that's a maybe. A lot of people don't even know they're pregnant. So how can you decide, oh, that baby is viable? Yeah. That baby is now at a point where it is living.
Yeah. I think it mainly boils down to, instead of like arguing over like when is the day or when is the moment or when is the blah, 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 it's more kind of like a mindset and or like view on the thing as a whole. Because like, what are we trying to do here? Like, are we trying to... Some people talk about it regulating population. Let's be real. It's not.
Some people need to die anyways, but
natural selection, blah 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 blah. I can get behind some of that too. I listened to this podcast with Sam Harris of this dude who was I forget the terminology that he used, but it was basically like anti-natalism or something like that, where he was basically saying as a rule, it's actually he would rather have just never been born than be alive at all, because life is full of suffering, and at least when you're unborn and before you even exist, really, there is no pain, there is no suffering, there's nothing. Yeah. So I'd rather be in that world than be in this world where I'm forced to get a job and wake up every day and have aches and pains and blah blah blah. Like,
to me, it's not even that. It's before you even get to that point, a lot of these mothers, again, I go back to the premise that the younger generation cannot afford to live. Hell, it's hard for us to... My girlfriend is a pharmacist. She makes a very good amount of money in my head, which what I thought was a very good amount of money. But because of loans, because of regular day expenses, because of rent in Atlanta and all that, it is still hard.
Paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. As a pharmacist.
Yeah.
I mean,
medical school and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. My friend Kyle's a pharmacist as well.
Yeah. And so coming to that conclusion, not everyone's a pharmacist. Not everyone has an education at the level of a pharmacist or a lawyer or a doctor. So you look at the average like consumer, most are not educated. Yeah. Like a lot are either college educated, but those people don't make that much money either. So when you go towards abortion, it's like, it's circumstantial.
Yeah, it is. And I think the main argument that people have, especially from like the religious crowd or whatever, is kind of like, well, you know, you didn't get pregnant on accident. You enjoyed it when you were doing it. Granted, there are some circumstances where there's rape or sexual, incest or, things like that where like, yeah, like it's kind of fucked up to not agree in those situations. But there are some situations where it's like, you're very promiscuous and you're getting pregnant all the time and you're like, no worries, I'll just get an abortion every time. It's like, I don't know if that's the most healthy thing either, And so it's like, I think there is a gray area, and I think every time, there is like but again, I don't think anyone should be forced into a situation that they are not prepared for or want to have, even if it means that there is like a loss of potential or something like that. I think that's the big thing people always talk about, like, well, that baby could grow up and be the next blah, 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 or whatever. And it's like, or that baby could grow up with like, in a shitty household and like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But a lot of the most amazing people in the world came from adversity, arguably, like if you grow up with a silver spoon in your mouth, you have a hard time, like,
which most of the people that are creating the laws did.
Yeah, like you don't understand the adversity and stuff like that, and it's a really crazy subject. But anyways, yeah.
And with abortion, it's like when, and that's why I say it's circumstantial, is because of the affordability, because people cannot afford sometimes to have kids, to help them, like help raise them, and then feed them or stuff like that without going broke or without becoming poor.
And also, why is murder a crime at the end of the day? You know what I mean? Like, this sounds really kind of fucked up, but like murder is a crime because you are like, number one, committing something to someone who doesn't want to die, hypothetically. Some people do want to die, they want to commit suicide, but like the general population of people that get murdered probably don't want to die. And then also their family, everyone is mourning the loss of this person. You're putting all their contacts and all the people that they're in touch with in a state of distress and grieving and all this stuff. And like, just as a fundamental thing, we say like murder is bad because like, it puts a strain on so many other things just besides that one person who's dying. But when you're also talking about an unborn baby, it's like the only people that can actually even like care are the two parents. And like, if the parents are willingly like going through with this, granted, it shouldn't be a comfortable thing to talk about, but like, if that's kind of what the decision is, like, again, kind of fundamentally back, I don't like the idea of killing babies, but like, if that baby's going to grow up into a family where the two parents don't even want it or care for it or love it, then like,
or is just going to be given to a foster
There's a lot of foster kids already out there.
Yeah. And it's been proven that the foster system is not a great system. Like
Yep.
Again, what are you really doing for this child? Even at the point of like, okay, at the point of viability, there should not be an abortion. Cool. That's understood, I think, by most people, that unless it is harmful to the mother, unless the mother will die because she gives birth or something, then, and that is the law. That is the actual law in the Constitution, that you cannot, like, unless it's harmful to the mother or something, you can't take or you can't have an abortion after viability. Okay, cool. But before that, before viability exists, who is anyone to decide? What are you doing for this seed, basically? Are you going to let this seed grow up into a system that is just going to cause more and more harm to them? Probably.
Yeah.
Like, if the situation, again, it's circumstantial.
I think that's the biggest argument towards like the quote unquote like conservative side of the argument, is like, you're only caring about this baby until it's born, and then you're kind of like, all right, now you're in the world, now find a job and blah blah blah.
What happens after that?
Oh, you're gonna be on welfare now? Wow, taking from my taxes. It's like, well, you're the one that wanted him to be here in the first place. Yeah.
Like you're complaining about someone taking your tax money, but at the same time, you're the one that.
I think both sides are guilty of certain things. Yeah. So definitely. I think there's a balance. Like, you know, if we are saying we should care for every woman, child, and baby, then we got to practice what we preach as far as that goes. But when you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth and you're like, well, that baby is going to have so much potential. And then 5 years down the road, you're mad at the single mom who's on welfare with the screaming baby in Kroger. Oh my God, can you believe this bitch? She had a baby because she wanted to, blah, blah, blah.
Like
blah,
it was her choice to have the baby.
It's her choice to have the baby. Maybe it wasn't. You never know.
You never know.
And that's where that's why I like having podcasts, man, and like talking to people in long form is because you don't ever really get to know somebody until you can have like a real face-to-face conversation and understand their side of things. You know, I think that's why this is like really kind of emotional a little bit. Is like that's why there's so much like violence and like misunderstandings in the world, is because people don't it's a lack of communication. You know, like the reason why people are unhappy is because they have certain expectations and then their expectations aren't met, and that can happen with the people around you, that can happen with your family, that can happen with your friends. And if you like expect people to just be a certain way just because they're humans, and you don't understand that they are the way they are because of this and this, you don't have empathy. And then when you don't have empathy, you know, that can get like bottled up. And that can manifest in like all kinds of unhealthy ways.
I completely agree.
I heard from like a therapist, like 99% of conflict is through
miscommunication. Yeah, totally. It's crazy. Yeah, it's all miscommunication and
or people just not willing to talk.
Yeah,
you know, like that's the thing. That's what's happening right now. People aren't willing to talk to the opposing side.
Because again, like going back to what you were saying, what I was saying before, people don't take the time to play out the whole story. Yeah. It's like we're only talking about right now. Right now we're caring about this baby because it is in that woman's stomach and it needs to come out and be a baby and it needs to be alive and be a human. Well, let's carry that all down the road. Do you still care for that baby at age 5, at age 6, at age 10, when it's an adult, when it's a homeless man? You know, like, you know, do we, as a society, we need to, you know, care for our people. And, you know, it's easy to say, and it's easy for me to say because I'm just sitting here as a guy, and I've for sure been disrespectful towards people.
We are all privileged at a certain level. Totally, we are all privileged.
Yeah, and it's easy for me to say as a freaking, you know, white male, blah blah blah, raised in a good household with both parents.
But see, I hate that because it's not just about being, at that point, it's not just about being white. It's about, in general, being privileged.
I agree.
Because
I 100% agree, bro.
And I hate that everything become like, I understand certain things are definitely about race. There's definitely something that racially drove whatever like discrimination that happened. But when it comes to privilege, every single person that is in our generation, a majority, not every single person, a majority of the people in our generation is privileged because our parents did take the time. And again, there are anomalies out there. There are single parents out there. There are other people that work their asses off.
But if you're living in America, like you are in like privileged. The 1% for sure of the world at least. And that's what I hate about I think anytime someone plays that like privilege card on someone else, they are themselves playing the victim card. And I think in an entire worldview, you got to take a giant step back and be like, well, shit. In the game of life, you know, maybe I didn't roll a 6, but I definitely rolled a 5. You know, or like, you know, maybe I didn't get the best of it. Maybe I didn't win the lottery, but I'm still a millionaire.
Or like, you know, close.
It's like in the lottery of the world, you know, like me and my brother, we went to Dubai recently, and we learned that if two local Emiratis marry each other, you get like 50 grand. The government gives you a house and a new car. And I'm like, damn, we were born in the wrong place, bro. And then like a millisecond after that, I'm like, dude, but I can't be upset by anything. Because like I'm living an amazing life. I'm privileged enough to even visit a place like Dubai and stay in a cool place.
And that takes me back to my conversation of like the whole fitness thing, like going back to the comment section, like that difference between my privilege and what a person in a small village in India is going through. And so like, again, there's that vast difference that this person sees me as a celebrity And I'm seeing this other person, so it's tears.
Totally, man.
Right?
The
And
perception fucks with you.
Yeah. And so for me, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not anyone famous. I literally am just some guy in college doing his regular thing who happens to have a lot of followers. That's it. That's all it is.
And a lot of them are like on the other side of the world.
Exactly, yeah. And so for me, it's just like, I don't care enough to where I would ever consider myself a celebrity, or even if I was a celebrity, half of those people still want to live their normal lives. They don't want the lives they have. They don't want that entire life. So
I think that's
again,
why, like in
privilege.
LA, like when people move to LA or they live in LA, it's almost kind of like an unspoken thing that you don't like pester celebrities and stuff, you know? Because like everyone realizes that everyone's just a normal human being that's just trying to go about their day. They're just trying to freaking go to the grocery store. They're trying to do their daily shit.
And as soon as you leave LA, it's just free for all. It's like I'm gonna bother this person. I'm gonna try to take a picture with them. Exactly. And that's the thing, is a lot of people can't put it into perspective that this person is just living his life. He happens to have a lot of influence over other people, but he is still there just living his life. That is it.
Totally.
And that's where
and we shouldn't expect anything else from that person.
Why should that person go out of his way right now at this very moment to take a picture with me? Why should that happen?
I think people are warming up to that idea because they think like it's literally 1 second out of your day, bro. Why are you being
that
a dick?
1 second is very important to them.
That 1 second is more important to them than the 1 second of getting that picture might even be more important. Might be important to you
because that picture will give you maybe like 5 minutes of satisfaction on Instagram or Facebook, where the fuck you're gonna post it.
Get that clout.
Yeah,
clout chase.
But as soon as like, what is one selfie with a celebrity gonna do for you? Like at all?
Yeah,
and
no one's become famous because they took a picture with Will Smith.
Yeah,
you know?
And that's something I learned.
But if you already got some clout, it can elevate your clout a little more. Like if you took a picture with like Will Smith or something, that might be dope. Like your people are excited for you.
Yeah,
They're like, shit, two really cool people. This guy that I like, and then this other guy. You put them together. That's why people get so pumped about, you know, like carpool karaoke with like James Corden, because you got like Ariana Grande and this
really
other
funny guy
together. And that's why people love podcasts like Joe Rogan and Wiz Khalifa. Like that one went crazy viral because it's like these two people that they love separately together, you know?
and that's the thing, is like that could either go really great or go really bad, because that's what happened to me. So I thought that I could ride the train. Whenever I started like getting on this train of Instagram and fitness and stuff, I was riding on a 6-month train of like, dude, I got to work out with Luke Zocchi. I was like, I got to work out with Chris Hemsworth's trainer. I would mention that name everywhere. I was like, dude, this is awesome. At the time, I had a max of like 700 followers. And it was just like, I
thought you were saying you had a max bench. At first, like you're like, I had a max of 700. I'm like, you were lifting that much weight? Holy shit. The max follower count.
Max follower count of like 700. And it was just like, this I can't ride that train forever.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing with a normal person taking a picture with, and at the time, I wasn't an influencer. I wasn't anything. I was just some guy who lost weight that took a picture with a celebrity who created. It's raining.
It's raining hard.
Who created the program that I used. So at the time, I thought, oh, this is gonna be great and stuff, and then I realized, no, it's like, this guy's probably super annoyed with me because I tag him in every post.
I don't know, man. Some people like some people like that. Like,
but he's
like
a very
his
genuine
fan,
guy.
You know?
No.
And the fact that he met up with you and worked out with you speaks volumes to that. You know,
and he's a very genuine guy. He's extremely he's actually a really cool guy. I recently had messaged him and just thanked him for everything. Like as soon as I got to 100,000, I was like, dude, thank you. Like you led me the right way. You are the reason I started this journey, and it was true on my side. It was true. And for him, he messaged me back saying, no, like all the credit goes to you. I just put a program out. You did the work. You did all this.
Because 99% of the people aren't going to do it.
Yeah. And so he was like, I honestly just, my program was just a guide for you. I literally just guided you to the right path. You did the rest of the work.
Yeah.
And I was like, no person in this world, like besides genuine people, would ever agree to that or ever say that to anyone who's literally complimenting the shit out of you. Like, people just accept it, but and that's where, honestly, he's a lot of the reason why I learned to give credibility to people, to give what people deserve to them, because that's what they deserve. Like, honestly, in my eyes, I don't see me getting the credit. Yeah, I did the work, but it was because of him that I even started doing it. What if I had gone with a different person or a different, anything I did different?
Yeah.
It could have like had a completely different pathway for my life. And so, again, like that whole perspective of focusing on just being genuine throughout, just literally just trying to do what you can for people versus always looking at what you can do for yourself. And I think that's very important coming into the fitness industry in the modern world, is if you can keep looking out for yourself. But as soon as you start hitting a high, as soon as you start getting famous and people start noticing you, all you're going to do now is look for sponsorships and like start posting things that you didn't get famous for, or you didn't even, and that's what happened that's what, in my opinion, happened to the fitness industry right now.
Totally. And people like schlepping products that they don't really care or use or whatever. A lot of like, I was listening to, there's a podcast called Mind Pump. I don't know if you've heard of it. I'm pretty sure it's like the #1 fitness podcast on iTunes, but I hadn't heard of it until like kind of recently. I'm actually working with the Mind Pump guys on something pretty cool coming soon, so I'll be able to talk about it pretty soon on the podcast. But Adam on the Mind Pump podcast, he was talking recently about CBD in the fitness industry, and how all these like bodybuilders are now talking about how they use CBD for their post-workout. And it's like, bro, you've been a bodybuilder for like 7 years, and you got your pro card like so long ago, and now all of a sudden you're like schlepping CBD shit. It's like, yeah, you're also like slamming CBD with your like anabolic steroids. Like you're like, that's not the main reason why you're at where you're at.
Well, it's not even just bodybuilders. It's even people that are in functional training. So I've seen a lot of functional trainers right now that do things like that train the same way I do. Like, they're obviously they're bigger than me, they're more popular than me, but they like spews of like posts on CBD, stories on CBD, and they'll like show the product, and I'm like, the only reason you are doing this is not because of the benefits. You are doing it because you're gaining money. Like, you're getting money to do this. You probably...
And that's not to say there aren't benefits of CBD, but it's like when all of a sudden, when you get this sponsor and then you start talking about CBD every 5 seconds, it's kind of fishy, and it puts a bad taste in everyone's mouth.
Exactly. And then it becomes nothing but advertising. And so...
My least favorite is that that fit tea and shit, like the detox teas and stuff that give you diarrhea.
Oh yeah,
dude,
yeah.
People don't realize that it's like a detox because it fucking flushes your system out. Yeah. Like, you get like explosive diarrhea.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Fit Bunny tea in my Gymshark onesie, like, like everyone's got the fucking matching shit, and it's like, I just imagine every time they have Fit Bunny tea, like a giant like poop stain on the back of their shit, because I'm like, dude, you're like literally, as soon as you drink that, you're running to the bathroom like shitting your brains out.
And that's that's honestly like, it's something that I love seeing on there, because you see these people like posting about like these different drinks and different things, and I'm like, why is your fridge so damn organized? Like, oh, that's all I think. And I'm just like, your fridge is probably never this organized. You emptied that shit out, or you have an extra fridge because of all the money you make, and you have one special fridge just for this product.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in all fairness, with like the organized fridge type of post, it's kind of like, are you gonna fix your hair? Or like, before you take a picture, are you gonna fix your hair, or are you just gonna leave it like messy?
I understand
or
that.
If you have something in your teeth, are you gonna take it out? So it's kind of like, if I'm gonna take a picture of my fridge, I'm gonna organize it like as best as I can.
But I understand that.
But
when you have no other products in your fridge except for that one product, and there's like, it's organized in sections. At that point,
yeah, like, you're a shill. You're shilling hard. Yeah, I vibe you on that, man. I think really a lot of what the dark side of the fitness industry, or just social media in general, is it exposes people for who they are. At a certain level, eventually you're gonna get found out. Cancel culture is prevalent. If you're a dick, people are gonna find out you're a dick. people are just waiting almost to like find dirt on all these people.
And you don't realize, and the thing is, a lot of the, I don't technically blame those influencers or those people that are already in the fitness industry being called out. I don't blame them because in a way, they created what the fitness industry is.
Yeah.
When Instagram started, they took it to where it is right now.
Totally.
But then also they didn't realize they're putting themselves in the public eye. So them acting one way, and then all of a sudden they like people see something that's a little different, you're gonna be called out about it.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be like, what the fuck? Like, what is up with this post when all of this stuff is like what we thought were you, but now this is you.
Yeah, you got to be authentic. And it goes down to back to intent. It's like, you're saying like not replying to comments and stuff. It's like, that you get so many comments, you're not going to take the time to reply genuine stuff, so you might as well not say anything at all.
Exactly.
But if you did schedule out an hour every day to respond to comments, maybe it'd be valuable, but you're growing at such a rate right now. It's a trade-off. Would I rather be making content or responding to all the comments?
And again, it's all about, are you even going to be genuine? Even if you take the time out, even if you post a long message or like a long comment on there, did you really mean it? Did you really take the time out to give this person the full information? Because I could sit here with you, bring up one small topic in fitness, and talk about it for days.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could talk about it for days, but I can't do that to every single person on Instagram. Yeah. And if they don't see that full value of what I'm giving them, so say I give them a little bit, right? Well, okay, cool, I gave them that, but then they think that that's all the information that they need to move on. Well, that's not true. A majority of these people won't go out and Google search or research anything.
I think that's why like so many like influencers and blah 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 become like online coaches and stuff, because they realize like, okay, this person's invested in me and they're paying me for my expertise, so I will dive back and give them the value that they deserve.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the free stuff is typically just the free stuff.
But a lot of online coaching nowadays is also starting to like go down a spiral because people are seeing the money, but they're not putting out the same quality as they would.
They're regurgitating the same programs. They're saying they're going to be custom programs.
But now they're cookie cutter programs.
Getting the same programs. Yeah. Oh, we'll all calculate your custom macros. Everyone's getting the same fucking macros.
Same everything. Okay, so with macros and stuff.
Expose them!
With macros and stuff, you honestly cannot customize macros for anyone unless you do it in person.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no way. And because you don't, unless you have like the full report of like this person's body, of what's going on inside, what they need, what they don't, and no one's gonna get that. No one's gonna take the time out and give that personal information to some online coach that they've never met before.
You'd be surprised. I think some online coaches, like, they're an online coach, but like every week they're like Skyping with this person, or they'll fly them out for a retreat weekend or stuff like that.
There are definitely
the serious coaches.
Yeah,
like my friend Ashlyn, she's been on my podcast a couple times. She's an online coach. She makes bank because her programs are expensive as fuck, but she provides hell of value.
Yeah.
Like her clients like are obsessed with their results, and they're obsessed with her. Like they love the whole thing. And like I see that like it's her full-time thing, because she makes it a full-time commitment to her clients and stuff. And like she's very balanced. She does it the right way, in my opinion. And I think that's the way everyone should be doing it.
And I think that's the difference, is someone doing it full-time and actually putting in the work versus just trying to make a quick buck.
Totally, bro. Where do you go from here, bro? You got 127,000 followers. What's next? I mean, that's always the most ridiculous question, because I don't know how to answer that with my own shit. But like, you're in law school, you've got this social media thing, your photography, videography on the side. Where do you kind of see this all like coming to a head? Like, where do you kind of want this to go ideally?
So everything obviously always changes. We try to have plans,
of course,
but
everything changes.
I'm starting my last semester of law school.
Congrats.
Thank you. I finished. That is a very like unemotional thank you, because I'm just like so done with it.
Yeah,
I'm just ready.
Sorry to backtrack a little bit, but did you ever feel the pressure from like family and friends and blah 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 to do the law school thing, or was that really something that you were passionate about, or was it a mixture?
It was a mixture. It was a mixture, just because, again, coming from an Indian culture,
Totally.
trying to find, and again,
You're a doctor, a lawyer, and nothing else.
Yeah. And I appreciate it, again, because it's something that you need to do. Like, you have, even though it puts you in debt, you have a backup. Like, you can have if you have a passion, you have time to do it on the side. I have proved that. Like,
true,
through
bro.
law school, like, for 2 years of law school, I have done this. For the first year, I wasn't part of it. And the last 2 years, I was just like killing it during law school. And people always ask me, like, how do you do this? Like,
Sacrificing social life,
yeah,
pretty
like,
much.
You sacrifice your social life. You sacrifice going out with your buddies to get drinks. You sacrifice a lot to plan all this out. You sacrifice sleep. Dude,
Totally, bro.
when I first started Instagram, and this is something I want a lot of people to hear, you can do anything if you really do put your mind to it. 2 years ago, I didn't have a camera. I didn't have any skills on a camera. All my videos, photos, everything was off my iPhone. I had a little tiny tripod. That's it. That's where I started. And in the last year and a half, I bought a camera. I spent countless amounts of nights sitting and learning how to use that camera.
Yeah.
Photography was
who are
one
your
story.
favorite YouTubers that you watched?
Dude, I don't even know, because that's how many videos I watched. That's the thing.
That's awesome.
It's like I watched so many videos. I literally, every suggestion, I was like, all right, next suggestion, because I was just like, I want to see these different takes on how to use this camera. So photography was one thing, but videos were my main thing.
Totally another thing.
So I was just like, what's the best way to film my workouts? I see all these other people, and the thing is, I do my own photography. I do my own videography. There's no one standing there telling me what to do, where,
directing or whatever.
Yeah, if I'm in the frame or anything. Like, I had to learn to do all that.
It'd be nice to have a flip-up screen right about now, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
With the A6500.
And so, like, it's one of those things where you really, like, I had to teach myself. And so going forward, after law school, obviously I want to practice law, and that will be my main
What type of law do you think you want to go into?
Right now, it's real estate law.
Oh,
specifically a very boring kind of real estate law, title insurance. You don't see any clients, which is a great thing. I worked at a title insurance firm for a while, and so, like, I loved it.
Nice.
You have to be an attorney to do that job, so that's something I want to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of random things that they're like, yeah, I'm a lawyer, and then they tell you what they actually do, and you're like, that's not what I think of when I think lawyer.
You think of courthouse, you think of, like,
I'm thinking
arguing.
a suit and an argument and a...
And the thing is, like, the firm I worked at for 2 summers, I showed up in flip-flops and shorts.
Nice.
They told me to like hang up my suit and never wear it again. Yeah, like
awesome.
During the interview, they were like, "You don't have to dress like this ever again. You can just put it up." I was like,
cool. Save it for the weddings.
Literally, like, he was just like,
well, not the Indian weddings. You gotta wear different shit.
and the thing is, like, they were like, "You just come in like casual clothes," and I was just like, "Does that mean flip flops?" Because I'm down.
Because I'm down for some flip flops.
I'll definitely come to work in flip flops.
That's awesome.
And so, like, for me, I want to practice. I do want to practice law, but at the same time, this is something I want to pursue. I love cooking as well, so I want to learn how restaurant businesses work.
Nice.
I want to open up restaurants.
Vegetarian restaurants? Or any kind?
Vegetarian.
Nice.
But again, like, my food is really good, and so you never miss the meat.
Dude, I need to try some, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for, like, meat alternatives. I just, like, it's mainly just the reason why is because it's like I miss it, or I feel like I'm not getting enough protein or whatever. I gotta find alternatives, blah blah blah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm
definitely on the side of, like, the ethical. Like, I don't like the idea of, like, factory farming type shit. You know what I mean? But I also don't see myself changing my lifestyle to that extreme level.
I mean, it's hard. Again, you grew up with something. It's hard to change what you grew up with. Like, and that's the thing. I grew up with a certain mentality when it comes to. Oh, sorry.
You're good, dude.
I grew up with a certain mentality when it came to being vegetarian, and I stuck with that mentality for the rest of my life. It's hard to change it. It's very hard. It takes a lot to do it. And so, again, like, when I open up restaurants and stuff, I want to show a whole new perspective on you don't need meat to have like good tasting food.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
The food I make has so many different flavors in it that you don't know what you're tasting.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's what I love about cooking too, is like you get to be creative. So I want to learn the restaurant business. I want to open up a gym in Atlanta.
That's awesome.
That's definitely like one of my biggest goals.
Do you know, do you know Mama Cabria?
I do, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, I feel like you definitely need to connect with her and her boyfriend because he
she
knows hella stuff about food. He has like all kinds of food stuff going on.
The thing is, she actually told me how she sends my workouts to him.
Really?
Because he wants to do home workouts and stuff. So I was like, that's really cool.
That's awesome. Shout out to Mama. She's the best.
Yeah, she's amazing. Very genuine person.
I'm going to have her on my podcast again soon.
Yeah.
She was on like episode like 90 something.
I just did an ATL sweat. Or
so
sweat ATL, event with her.
That's awesome. I only didn't go because I tore my... What did I do? Sprained my ankle.
Okay. I was like, tore your ACL?
Tore my ACL,
Don't tell me that.
broke my ankle. No, sprained my ankle. It was fucked up. But that's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm glad you're in touch with them because I feel like they're super good resources.
Really cool people, yeah.
As far as that.
Yeah.
But sorry to just kind of like wrap things up again. I kind of asked like, where do you kind of see this thing going as far as the social media side? I'm assuming you're going to kind of just ride this out and see where it takes you, right? Yeah. That's awesome, man.
I don't like, and the thing is like, I didn't have any goals in the beginning. I don't have any goals now. I'm just trying to, again, go day by day and see where it goes.
I feel you, man. That's kind of how I was with the podcast. In the very beginning, I was like sleepless nights. I was up all night freaking working on this thing. In the month of like June of 2017, I think I launched like 25 podcasts in that month.
That's amazing.
And now I'm like struggling to put out like one a week. Not struggling. Now I've got AJ like helping me, my producer, who's fucking amazing. Like literally like taking so much of the workload off.
But it's hard to create that content that you don't know what.
And especially when I'm always trying to level up and like and surprise my audience or whatever. I'm not trying to keep doing the same thing forever.
Exactly.
And so that just involves more work and it was rough. But in the beginning I was so hungry because I was trying to build something from nothing. And that's why, like, you put in that, I can relate to, like, talking about how in the beginning you had 700 followers, but you were still, like, being consistent, like, taking it seriously and because you knew it could potentially even become.
And for the audience, I still had those days where I woke up and was like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I doing this? Where am I taking, like, am I even gonna, like, blow up? Am I even gonna do something? And honestly, the 3 words I can say is trust the process. That's it. Like, trust the process with anything. Anything you want to do, whether it's work out and lose weight, whether it's work out and gain mass, whether it's like learning a new skill like photography, even podcasting or anything, trust the process. Every little bit counts.
Boom. There we go, dude. I feel like that's a great way to end things. How do people find you? Where can they find you on social media?
Just go to Instagram, find the Desai Lifestyle, and we'll have everything you need there.
Yeah, and it'll all be linked in the descriptions and all that nonsense. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Boom! Thank you guys for listening. Everyone always makes fun of me for the boom, but I pioneered the boom. I'm going to keep doing the boom. That's how I kick off these outros. But thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you follow Abhish on social media. If you are at the end of the episode and you're very sad because it's over, never fear. I've got 119 other episodes you can check out. But the best one to check out, I think, after listening to this one, would probably be to go check out episode 87 with my friend Mama Cabria. We just talked about her at the end of the podcast. But she's another fitness influencer in the community who is absolutely crushing it. She's amazing. She also has a lot of Instagram followers too, but not that really matters. She's just an amazing person. Go check out that episode. It's called Small and Strong, episode 87. Another episode to check out is episode 11, major throwback, major key, with my friend Jamie Karam. Now, this episode came to mind because Jamie, just like Abhish, he is an immigrant. He's from South Africa, actually, so he has a really cool accent. He's also a personal trainer, but he had some crazy stories about growing up in South Africa, like when his teachers got mugged on a field trip and like he confronted a gorilla when he was on a hike or something crazy. Like the stories from that episode are like underrated as hell. Like most people don't know about those early episodes because they kind of just listen to the newer ones because they find me later on. But episode 11 is a banger. And if you enjoyed this episode, you will definitely enjoy going back and listening to that one. So go check it out. It was called Missiles and Monkeys, I think. It was pretty nuts. Episode 11 with Jamie Karam. If you want to follow me on social media, you can do that at andrewdeitsch.com. Got all my social media links there. If you want to support the podcast, the best way to do that is to take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram story, share it on your Facebook, share it wherever your peeps are watching your stuff. Word of mouth is the biggest way that this podcast spreads. Of course, if you feel like being awesome, you can go to iTunes and give me a 5-star rating. But honestly, I don't think those help me that much with discoverability. I really do think discoverability is all about word of mouth. So if your friends are talking about podcasts and you enjoyed my podcast, I would appreciate if you brought me up. That'd be cool. That'd be awesome. Instead of pimping out the regular schmucks like Joe Rogan and Tim Ferriss and Aubrey Marcus and those losers. Just kidding. But seriously, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, go follow Abhish. He's awesome. I really like him a lot. I'm super stoked to kindle that friendship, and hopefully we can do some awesome stuff in the future. So thanks for listening, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Like, you get like explosive diarrhea.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Fit Bunny tea and my Gymshark onesie. Like, you know, like everyone's got the fucking matching shit, and it's like, I just imagine every time they have Fit Bunny tea, like a giant like poop stain on the back of their shit. Cause I'm like, dude, you're like literally, as soon as you drink that, you're running to the bathroom like shitting your brains out.